Hi guys, it's James from Pixelated Geek, and I'm here with Richard Igo, Director of Marketing at Telltale Games, to talk about The Walking Dead 400 Days.
Hey, how you doing?
So we just went through one of the 5 stories that are currently included in this one, and as you mentioned in the earlier demonstration, this is a particular type of situation. What kind of situations can we expect among those 5 stories? I assume each is a different kind of story?
Yeah, you've got, like you said, we've got 5 completely different characters. They're all from very different backgrounds, and their stories all take place at different points within this 400-day period, from day 1 through to day 400 of the apocalypse. So you're going to have some very different experiences. Like you said, the first one, and the one that we've been showing today at E3, is very much a pressure cooker situation. You're in a very tight, very hot environment. You're trapped in a prison bus on a Georgia highway. The apocalypse is starting to happen all around you, and you've got these 3 prisoners who are trying to get, off this bus and escape. So you've got that type of situation, but then you've also got some very emotional situations. It sounds kind of weird to describe it unless you play it, but there's kind of this weird kind of 3-way love triangle kind of going on in one of the episodes that we've got. There's issues of trust, there's lots of action, so you're going to see some... The nice thing about 400 Days is that because we've got these 5 different stories, we're really able to show you these very different, broader experiences set in Robert Kirkman's world.
You mentioned earlier that the repercussions from these 5 different stories will be resounding across them, just as they've been doing throughout the series. Could you give some examples, assuming that you were able to do so, of like very vague sorts of effects?
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, if you've played Season 1, definitely keep your save files, because they're going to have an effect on 400 Days, and then, as you said, the stuff that you do in 400 Days will also resonate forward into Season 2 of The Walking Dead, which is coming later this year. I can't really give specific examples because I don't want to spoil anything too much, but it could be as small as, oh wow, I know this location, or I remember this object, or whatever it was from Season 1, all the way through to really sort of like kind of jaw-dropping big moments that you're like, whoa, you definitely see that link, even though 400 Days isn't a direct continuation of Lee and Clementine's story. It's definitely based on the decisions and the actions and things that you did in Season 1, and you will definitely see those resonate forward.
One of the big things about The Walking Dead Season 1 was that people were calling out were the sort of like painful decisions you had to make between not very clear alternatives. I assume that there are a number of those in this. There was certainly one of the 2 prisoners that you mentioned here. What were you trying to go for with that sort of feel in this particular DLC?
I mean, we're looking for more of the same, really. I think it's a trademark of... I mean, even before, we created our game, Robert had created this world where everything is, from a moralistic point of view, it's very grey. Everything's shades of grey, right? And we're continuing to do that and explore that in the game. With, Season 1, we were kind of, I don't want to use the word limited, but we were focused on Lee and Clementine's story, so it was very much based on that. And the storytelling that we did was obviously based on Lee and Clem's characters. Whereas in 400 Days, it's more about the stories that you see passing through a location. So all of the stories actually take place in and around this truck stop on a Georgia highway, and the idea is, like, if this place could talk, these are the stories that it would tell. And so you're still going to get a lot of those morally grey situations that you hopefully and love as a fan of The Walking Dead, where there's not an obvious good or bad outcome. You're just going to have to make your choice and then live with the consequences.
Walking Dead Season 1 was very highly critically acclaimed. Do you feel has this made it more difficult to top yourself, or has this enabled you to tell broader or darker stories? How have you guys reacted to that sort of position in the market, as it were?
Well, I mean, first of all, we were just blown away by the response that we got to The Walking Dead. I know that the guys that made the game, designed it, wrote the stories, they were definitely aiming for that emotional resonance that it ended up having, but I still think that everybody was shocked and blown away where we saw, people doing playthroughs on YouTube, and they were actually, really absolutely, truly devastated at the end of their playthrough, or shocked or angered, and to generate those emotions is a truly wonderful thing. And I think that the awards and the sales and stuff like that, obviously we love, there's no lying about that, but just from that fan reaction, that's the most important thing to us, and we definitely want to do more of that and just try and improve on it for Season 2 and for 400 Days.
Aside from the original material, have there been any really notable works that were special influences on 400 Days, or for that matter on the upcoming Season 2?
Well, obviously everything that Robert does is a huge influence on us. We work directly with Robert and the folks at Skybound pretty much on a day-to-day basis, so they know what's going on, they see it. Obviously Robert can't write the stories for us because he's kind of a busy guy right now, but yeah, I mean, Which what's the question? Edit that.
Aside from the original, though, aside from Robert's work,
Right.
like, have there been any other notable works that influenced these particular stories, or for that matter, season 2?
Yeah, our writers get their influences from all sorts of different places. I know that Sean Vanaman, for example, gets lots of his influences just from real life situations that he's encountered. The stories that he hears from friends and stuff like that, and also some really interesting movies and books that you really wouldn't guess would really form a foundation for ideas in The Walking Dead, but they definitely all affect our very well-read writers.
Any examples?
Not
Like anything
not
you
that I
check
can
on?
give right now. I mean, I don't read the game, but I know that that's how they work.
Well, thank you very much. We're all looking very much forward to this DLC.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
See you.